Greetings and welcome to Midweeks with Pastor Munford. I am excited to be with you again today. We're continuing in our series entitled, I Failed, Now What? Last week we got into it. In part one, we talked about the reasons why we failed. And we looked at David. We'll continue to look at David today. We looked at the story when David, and you can find it in 2 Samuel chapter 6. You can find it in 1 Chronicles 13 and 1 Chronicles 15. But when David was wanting to bring the Ark of God back into Jerusalem, for Saul did not appreciate the presence of God, did not appreciate the holy things of God, and he left the Ark in Abinadab's house, or it ended up in Abinadab's house. And David took out and wanted to bring it back into Jerusalem. But he went about it the wrong way. He was a bit overzealous. We talked about he had some misguided instruction, and he had the improper resources. And those are the reasons why he failed. And I challenged you last week to look in your life in areas where you may have failed. It may have been a good thing you've been going after, but it was areas that you failed. I challenge you to go back and look at some of those reasons why you failed. Now today we're going to look at, in part 2 of this series, what to do when you fail. What to do when you fail. And today we'll be looking at the 2 Samuel chapter 6 version of the story, and we're going to pick it up around verse 9. It says, David was afraid. Now this is after Uzzah had, the ox had slipped, and Uzzah had touched the ark, and God had struck Uzzah dead. We pick it up right here. And it says in verse 9, David was afraid of the Lord that day, and he said, how can the ark of the Lord come to me? So David would not move the ark of the Lord with him into the city of David, but David took it aside into the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. The ark of the Lord remained in the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite 3 months, and the Lord blessed Obed-Edom and all his household. Now it was told King David, saying, the Lord has blessed the house of Obed-Edom and all that belongs to him, because of the ark of God. So David went and brought up the ark of God from the house of Obed-Edom to the city of David with gladness. What to do when you fail. The first thing we have to do is found in verse 9. It says, David was afraid that day. He said, how can the ark of the Lord come to me? We have to avoid self-doubt when we fail. David looked at this failure and became angry with God, and he said, how can I do this thing? When we fail, it's important to understand that it's okay to critique yourself and to criticize, but you do not want to doubt what you have been called to do. David began, in my biblical imagination, to doubt the thing, the endeavor that he had set out for. He began to doubt what God had told him to do. But I want to encourage you not to allow self-doubt to overtake you, for self-doubt allows the devil to creep into your mind and talk you out of the things that God has called you to. When we fail, we have to avoid self-doubt. Secondly, don't abort the mission. Verse 10 of the text says, so David would not move the ark of the Lord with him into the city of David, but he took it aside into the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. David, even in a brief moment, aborted the mission. When we fail, it's important not to abort the mission. David got discouraged. He got down on himself. Someone in his court died as a result of his, you can call it David being irresponsible, because he did not establish the proper order. He did not seek the wise counsel before going to get the ark. And as a result, a member of the team that he had to do the thing, perished as a result. So I can imagine David getting down on himself and saying, I don't want to do this anymore. But you have to understand that the mission that God has called you to is much bigger than you. I look at Moses. When Moses encountered God at the burning bush, Moses came up with all these excuses. But in essence, God said, I don't care about your deficiencies, your excuses, your failures in your past, but what I'm calling you to do is bigger than you, and I will be with you through, and I will see you through it even until the end. So it's important not to abort the mission. But instead of aborting the mission, you have to regroup, but don't quit. I'll say that again. Regroup, but don't quit. Go back and do some self-analysis. Go back and look at what went wrong. But get back up and try it again. Regroup and don't quit. And lastly, we have to, in verse 12 says, that now it was told King David, saying that the Lord had blessed the house of Obed-Edom and all that belongs to him, because the ark of God was there. So David went and brought up the ark of God from the house of Obed-Edom into the city of David with gladness. David aborted the mission briefly, but then he got a boost because he heard how Obed-Edom was being blessed. And he said, I got to get back on track. In other words, he tried again. When we fail, my brothers and sisters, we have to be willing to try again. Sometimes God will send you a vision, will send you a word, will send you a glimpse of what could be if you had not given up. When he does that, that's the time for you to get back up, dust yourself off, and say, I got to go do this thing again. I got to go back on the mission and do what God has called me to do. I have to be willing to try it again. The way you get over your failure is to keep trying. The famous Michael Jeffrey Jordan, who I believe is the GOAT, but that's another topic for another time. He has a quote that said, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over again in life, and that is why I succeed. You have to be willing to keep on trying, to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, even when you fail. It's important to understand that your mission is greater and bigger than you, and God will give you the strength, the courage, the wisdom to pick yourself back up and to keep going. You will miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. If you take a shot one time and you miss, and that's the end of it, listen, you will never make another shot again in your life. But there's a saying in basketball that when a shooter may be having a spell, they may be in a drought, can't make a basket, they tell them to keep shooting because eventually one will go in. And once they see that one go in, then they'll get the confidence to keep on shooting, to keep on trying, and to keep on going. And that's all I'm trying to encourage you to do today. That when you fail, avoid the self-doubt. Don't have a pity party. You can examine, you can criticize, you can critique, but don't get down on yourself. Why? Because your failure didn't kill you, and you can get back up and try it again. So don't abort the mission, because that mission is bigger than you. That mission has purpose. That mission has a blessing on the other side of it. So you have to be willing to get up and try again, even when you fail. The purpose and point of these teachings is to give you some practical principles to help you get back up and recover from a fall. A lot of people fail and don't know what to do next. But I want to help you to overcome your failure and get back up and try it again. Just type that in the comments. Try it again, try it again, try it again. Encourage yourself to try it again. Last week we talked about why we failed. This week we talked about what to do when we fail. And next week I'm going to talk to you about how we recover from failure. So one thing to fail is one thing to get back up, then it's another thing to recover. So we're going to dive deeper into that next week. In the meantime, read 2 Samuel chapter 6, read 1 Chronicles chapter 13 and chapter 15 so you'll know what we're talking about, because time will allow us to really read the entire scriptures. But you read those scriptures in your leisure time so that you will understand the fullness of this story with David and bringing the ark back into Jerusalem. In the meantime, God bless you. We love you. We miss you. We pray that this message is finding you well and safe today. We want you to join us back here Sunday morning at 10 a.m. for our virtual worship experience. Continue to support our ministry through your generous giving. We appreciate each and every gift, each and every seed that's sown, tithe that's given. We don't take it lightly. So the giving information is on your screen. But remember, stay safe. Still wear your mask. Still social distance. Do all the things that we need to do to continue to rise out of the abyss of this pandemic. I've gotten my shots. I'm fully vaccinated. I thank God for it. Didn't have really any major side effects, but I encourage you, if you're on the fence about it, do your research. Talk to your doctor. Talk to someone else who's got the vaccine to see what kind of effects they had. Make the best decision for you, but let's stay safe. Let's do our part. God bless you. We love you. We miss you. We'll see you back here Sunday at 10 a.m.